There are three statements that we respectfully ask each of you to focus on. Statement number one, quote, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. Statement number two, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Statement number three, quote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. He wanted out, which drove her to concoct, to make up a story that was designed to recast herself as an abuse survivor, with Mr. Depp as the alleged abuser.
That was Johnny Depp's attorney, Benjamin Chew, doing part of the opening statements on Tuesday, highlighting three key parts of Amber Heard's op-ed that was published in the Washington Post. That piece, as we know, is what sparked Johnny Depp to file a defamation lawsuit against his former wife. Important to note, he did not sue the Post. When Amber Heard's attorney, Benjamin Rottenborn, got up, though, to give his opening statement, he told the jury about the entire op-ed. He read the entire thing, not just the three sections that Depp's team has focused on in their complaint and the allegations that they have made here. Read the article to the jury, let them all take it in. We have that moment from the opening statements. I want to play it for you now.
I was exposed to abuse at a very young age. I knew certain things early on without ever having to be told. I knew that men have the power, physically, socially, and financially, and that a lot of institutions support that arrangement. I knew this long before I had the words to articulate it, and I bet you learned it young too. Like many women, I had been harassed and sexually assaulted by the time I was of college age, but I kept quiet. I did not expect filing complaints to bring justice, and I didn't see myself as a victim. Then, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Imagine a powerful man as a ship, like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or even care about the ship, but because their own fates depend on the enterprise. In recent years, the Me Too movement has taught us about how power like this works, not just in Hollywood, but in all kinds of institutions, workplaces, places of worship, or simply in particular communities. In every walk of life, women are confronting these men who are buoyed by social, economic, and cultural power, and these institutions are beginning to change. I write this as a woman who had to change my phone number weekly because I was getting death threats. For months, I rarely left my apartment. And when I did, I was pursued by camera drones and photographers on foot, on motorcycles and in cars. Tabloid outlets that posted pictures of me spun them in a negative light. I felt as though I was on trial in the court of public opinion, and my life and livelihood depended on myriad judgments far beyond my control. I want to ensure that women who come forward to talk about violence receive more support. We are electing representatives who know how deeply we care about these issues. We can work together to demand changes to laws and rules and social norms, and to right the imbalances that have shaped our lives.
All right, so that we just heard is the op-ed she wrote. And so what we want to do here in this segment is pick apart what Johnny Depp's team has an issue with. So to help me do that, I want to bring in my pal, criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer. He's in the studio with us. And okay, Josh, so we'll take these in turn, just kind of one by one, and you tell us what you think here. Starting with the first portion that the Depp team has cited in its lawsuit. We're going to put it up here on your screen so you can see it here at home. Amber Heard, in this opinion article saying, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change.
Is it defamatory specifically? No. Do you need to have some outside context and information? Arguably, yes. It doesn't list a name, and it relies, or Mr. Depp's attack relies on people knowing not just who Amber Heard is, but who Amber Heard's former spouse was during this time. So there is that stretch right there in order to connect any damages Mr. Depp is suffering from the writings Miss Heard had published.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the second portion of it. We've got it highlighted here. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Okay, Josh, this is the one that I think might have the most teeth because it pinpoints a time frame. Yeah. But I want to know your thoughts.
I agree. And
yeah.
You've really definitely hit that because it's the specificness of the time. Anybody that does any due diligence is going to be able to make that connection. Why is she being published in the first place? Well, she's a woman of certain notoriety and success in artistic endeavors, and there's a lot of cultural value to that. And those people will make that connection directly to Mr. Depp. He is obviously the person that she is discussing as being the root or justification for why she has the position to write this that she does. And it would also be that specific allegation leading directly to why any kind of producer would approach Mr. Depp's people and go, sorry, we got to appeal to the widest base possible, and we are not cutting out people because of the allegations against you.
Right. Yeah, because if anyone hasn't heard of Amber Heard, and I have to confess, I mean, I had not heard of her until all this started swirling a couple years ago with his lawsuit in the United Kingdom. I mean, Johnny Depp is by far more well-known, by far more beloved. We're hearing it from our Court TV crew every day that it's mainly the Depp fans who've come out in droves for this thing. I've seen them on social media. I'm sure you have too, Josh. She definitely has her fans and supporters. But if somebody looks at that article and is like, who's Amber Heard? And they start Googling, all of a sudden the time frame comes up. She's been married to and had a divorce from Johnny Depp, and you know, we know there was the restraining order, the domestic violence issues, and then all of a sudden the joint statement that no, none of that's happening.
His identity is necessary for her context, and that's really the heart of it. Without a Johnny Depp, she's another horribly tragic alleged victim of domestic violence, of which there are thousands of those cases every day, or every month, I should say. It is a pervasive social issue, and the reason that she has that value is because of him, so that's the connection, and I do agree that's probably about the strongest part
that one with the time frame, right, because it really helps the jury to be able to infer, and we know we can have defamation by inference here in this case, even though Johnny Depp's name isn't specifically said. Let's take a look at the third portion together now. I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Okay, Josh Schiffer, what do you think about this one? Does this one have as much teeth as the other two?
The reason this one, in my opinion, gets included, this is the heart of the defense Mr. Depp's going to put forward. Amber Heard's complaint isn't about Mr. Depp. Mr. Depp's complaint relates to what Amber said, but it seems like Miss Heard's real struggle was in society's response to her use of freedom of speech, because she did get attacked left, right, and center. The cultural wars are out there. They're getting fought every single day. And I have no doubt she suffered dramatically by having the bravery as a victim to come out and be a face of domestic violence. And you're right. Anybody that has the weight and influence of a Johnny Depp kind of personality, the entire system is going to try to protect that asset. You're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, so don't be surprised when the world claps back on you when you've damaged, attached a scarlet letter to their key property. And she has every right to be upset at the world, but she can't sue the world. She's counterclaiming against Mr. Depp, and that's going to be a sticky issue.
Oh, definitely. Josh Schiffer, so glad we have you to weigh in on this today. Thank you for all of that.